Thank you all very much for joining us on this wonderful Wednesday evening. We have got one of the big ones. This always draws a bit of a crowd, but I think more so now than usual. We are joined by Magnet's Chris McManus, who's the B2B Director, as well as Jason Hopper, who is the Sales Director. Rather new faces to this webinar platform. We've done 6 or 7 with Magnet before, but the first one for these guys, and that's with good reason. I was going to say relatively new to the business, not relatively new to the business, but relatively new to LNPG. Myself and Nick were introduced to them only last year, and they came in with big aspirations, big changes were needing to be made, all in the right direction. And I would say that we initially had some hesitancy. Is that fair, Nick, to say we weren't sure it was really going to happen? But we've actually been making some really good positive changes, which we're kind of over the moon about. So we'll be hearing from them very shortly. To give you an introduction of who we are, my name is Anthony Bailey-Grice. I'm the MD of LNPG. I'm joined as ever by Laura, who will be monitoring the chat and introducing us to who we've got next month as well. And we have got the founder himself. He's deigned us with an appearance tonight. And Nick Watchorn, who used to be on all of these and now shows up every now and again.
Are you going to come up for air, Anthony?
I don't know. I just kept going until I felt that was enough time for the introduction, to be honest. There was a plan initially. Laura, can you take us through to the next slide? So what I want to start this off with, before we talk to Magnet, is kind of myself and Nick, how we were introduced to this new team, which was only last year. And we were invited along to the conference that Magnet hold for all of their branch managers in Telford last November. There's a picture of us over on the right with a couple of really good guys from the Glasgow Hag store. This was really where it started to sink in as, okay, these guys are serious about the LNPG business. Do you think that's right, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we did notice was where on the first day that we were there, LNPG were announced to all the branch managers that we were there. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who Anthony was. And they didn't even know we were in the room at the time. And you can see at the bottom there, the LNPG slide was being talked about. And there was like a groan. It was a LNPG. Okay. They didn't know at that stage that I would be talking to all of them on stage the very next day. So I ran through what I wanted to say, and Chris looked at me and went, "Oh my God." Yes. So he actually sat in the audience to try and control me. And it was actually me and Anthony that actually went on stage. Anthony was going to do half of it, and I was going to do the other half. But what happened was it was like Anthony wasn't there because I didn't shut up.
I think I did the first 12 seconds,
Yeah.
and then you were kind of let loose and said
Yeah.
everything that you said you weren't going to say and missed everything
Wasn't
that you
going to
said you weren't
say.
going to say. Yeah.
Absolutely. But would like to point out at this stage, we got the biggest clap, biggest round of applause at that conference. Because what I announced was all them things that you see my 1 to 12. And Chris went, "Oh my God, what's he done?" and Chris kind of went, "Okay."
Yeah, we got to do them.
Yeah. And he went, and the biggest one for us was the remuneration for the branches and the designers. And when I was outside the very next day, I met an awful lot of designers. And when they saw that I was LNPG, they kind of went, and then I explained all the changes that were going to come that hadn't been agreed. Yes, I would say that was fair to say, Chris.
Yeah.
And we got such a great response. And it was amazing. The whole day, the 2 days that we were there, we met all the branch managers, and then we met all the designers. We met the new CEO. We met the new the trades director who runs all the stores, and it was a really positive outcome. And I looked at Anthony. I went, "Let's see how long this lasts." Because we've been asking for this stuff now on a serious note for probably 8 years. And it was always the senior directors that are no longer with Magnet. And I'm not criticizing them, but some people were for it, some people, and it didn't go anywhere. This lot came in and went, right, what do you want? So I did a shopping list of all the major points that LNPG wanted to help our members get the process, get access to everything that Magnet do. So they went off, and I did say it was going to take a month. It's taken 4 months, I would say. Yep. Because there are some things that I don't see behind the scenes that take a long time to get signed off, but also get that message out to all the stores, put it on their systems so that the process when you go in to buy a kitchen magnet is easier. So I'm going to shut up now because I can talk about them. But if you look at the 10 things, there are another 2 things that they've actually added to this. So there's 12 things that we've kind of been discussing. Now, there's a couple there that we're not going to get, and we'll go through that with you a little bit later. But I am really excited about this. I think this is phenomenal. I think that, and I'll give you a little taster. One of the things that we've never had access to is the trade deals, because they're what we call loss leaders. They get people their trade into the stores. Yep. I can actually say now we have got the best of both worlds. We've got the LNPG contract, but also we've now got all the trade deals as well. So you've got the best of both worlds. So you don't need to open 2 accounts. You have 1 account. Everything's feeded through that. So when they do a special promotion on a cooker or a sink or a worktop, we get that. And we're going to show you that again later tonight through one of the slides. So from our point of view, it's really positive. I'm going to shut up because I'm going to go through all of these at the same time. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to hand back over to Anthony, and he can introduce you to the other parts of Chris and that, and they can talk, and I'll just interact when I need to. All right. Anyway, but can I just thank everybody from LNPG that has turned up and all the members. Thank you so much.
Nick. So you can understand why I did the first 12 seconds and Nick did the rest. This was a real turning point for us because we wanted to see not just the branches and the branch managers and the designers that looked after LNPG. There's a lot of those, but there's also some that didn't really like LNPG, and we never understood why. That's what we wanted to understand, and we wanted to make those changes. We've got a lot of changes that we're going to talk to you about today. One of them is possibly the biggest change that we've had in a decade. I'm not going to step on anyone's toes. I'm just going to throw this straight over to Chris and Jason. Do you want to take it from here, boys?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Nick. Jason, chip in as we go along, if you will, do, please. I'm Chris. As Anthony said, I'm business-to-business director for Magnet Projects. I've been with the group for almost 19 years now, but was only involved in terms of Magnet Projects and with LNPG from the middle of last year. And I think just sort of before we sort of move on, in terms of, as Nick and Anthony have said, in terms of the Magnet Conference, one of the big things for me in terms of getting LNPG at the Magnet Conference, getting Anthony and Nick at the Magnet Conference, was because, and I won't go into the details of the story, but Anthony told me a story when I first met Anthony about not having quite as positive a time at the Magnet Conference the year before. And that was something that was truly shocking, to be fair. And then you look, and we spent a lot of time going through some of the service issues that we've had internally in terms of service and LNPG. And so the first part of it felt like, right, we need to get both Nick and Anthony to the conference, but we don't just bring them and invite them as guests. We wanted them to speak. We wanted them to interact. I knew it was a bit of a risk putting Nick up on stage, and he obviously took pleasure in saying all the things that we said that, well, don't quite say this yet.
I behaved myself.
You did behave yourself, but it got things moving, and we needed to get things moving. It's then been a case of, right, there is lots of things to move and lots of things that have been going on. But I think one of the great things from my side is we are now moving things things are starting to speed up. We are seeing things move quicker and quicker, and we're in weekly and sometimes daily conversations to make sure that we can give you guys a better service, because you deserve one and we want to grow our business with you. So if you can just skip on a side, Laura, some of the things that have been addressed, I will go through. So before I do, sorry, I should really introduce the rest of the team. So probably in terms of, in order of importance from an LNPG point of view, I'll go top left, Krishna Calvert. So Krishna is a dedicated LNPG coordinator from a Magnet point of view. Krishna is dealing with LNPG members and store queries on a daily basis, and is interacting with the LNPG office on a daily basis, trying to make sure that we can give as smooth, as good, as decent a service as we possibly can. Bottom left then, the very cheerful chap there, he looks like he's on his holidays, is Mark Stacey. Mark's the accounts and commercial manager from a Magnet Projects point of view. Mark is trying to coordinate everything. He reports on the service, both to LNPG weekly and to our stores weekly, to make sure we know exactly what's going on. Top middle is not in order of importance anymore, but I'll just point out that I clearly lie on my LinkedIn profile, because that was taken a good 20 years ago, but I've introduced myself. Below me, Nicholas Bentley. Nicholas is our projects operations manager. Nicholas has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to start putting some of the process and systems in place to help us deliver things for LNPG. Bottom right, Matt Bunnell, who also lies on his profile picture, to be fair, because that must be maybe not 20 years ago, Matt, but 10 years ago. Matt is central operations, so really looking at sort of putting together the strategy in terms of, well, how do we deliver, how do we grow our business, but we can only do that by growing our business with you guys. And then top right, Jason joined back end of last year, in fact just before the Magnet conference, didn't you, Jason?
Yeah.
Jason's sales director for Magnet Projects, but has been shouting about how we need to improve our service to LNPG since he started, making sure that all our store operations guys know that as well, to make sure that we can deliver a better service. Just one other, which isn't on here, but I will point out. So I'm sat in Darlington head office, and I do have one other person who's sat behind the screen here with me, but a guy called Dan Peake. The reason I wanted to mention Dan was Dan is store operations manager, and one of the rightful criticisms in the past is we've not been connected and we've not been joined up. Dan has been involved in all of the meetings through from September of last year through to this point to start putting together things, because we need to make sure it works with the stores. We need to make sure it communicated to the stores and they know what's going on. It needs to be a two-way dialogue, and so Dan has been crucial in helping with that. You don't need to see Dan, but he's here. Say hello, Dan.
Hello.
Good. So if I can move on, Laura. Sorry, I'll speed up a little bit. Just sort of addressing some of the issues of the past. And I've watched a few of the webinars, and I've seen a couple of Magnet webinars where we've started with an apology, first of all. And this kind of is, but it's sort of looking at, well, what's been the issues in the past? And this was discussed over the last week or so, and it's been summarised as, well, the issues have been around, there's been deserts, there's been jungles, and there's trenches. And what we mean by that is, at the moment, we've got deserts in terms of, Nick, you've got 5,500 members with, is it 35,000 properties?
40, not down 40,000 now.
Yeah, and we've got some coverage in terms of the stores, but we can't cover everywhere in the UK. So there's been places where you guys simply couldn't access one of our stores to get trade with us, and that's an issue. We've had jungles, so we've had jungles where there are places where there are more than one Magnet, but some of them were trade, some of them were retail, some of them are concessions, and you can only deal with certain ones. And so how do you navigate through what you can and can't get? And then the trenches are probably where we've dug in and we've gone, well, we don't deal with that type of customer. And that's probably the biggest apology as well. We should deal with every type of customer. We should make sure we give a great service. So we've been having to break down some of those issues from the past. In terms of addressing the first one, really, and that's the store coverage. So if you look at Magnet right now, we've got 120 trade-facing outlets that you can see right here on the map. And we wanted to expand that out to you guys. So the first thing we've done is we have opened up the rest of our retail stores to you. So now from an LNPG point of view, you can go into any of our 170 locations across the UK and proudly say that you're LNPG, and we will proudly serve you as LNPG. That took a bit of doing in terms of adding those retail solar stores. So what that means from our point of view in terms of delivering to you is in terms of those 50 additional retail solar stores, one of them in the background there, which is stunning, and it is Oxford, I've just been told, thank you, is we need to supply those kitchens direct delivery from here in Darlington to wherever you are in the country. How we'll do that is we'll do that with our consumer retail fleet. So it's a 2-man white glove delivery service. So what we do is we deliver directly to your home, directly to the location you've specified on a specified date with 2 people who will carry that kitchen into the room of your choice in that house. You can still, if you choose to collect your kitchens, you can still go into your Magnet trade and order and collect the kitchen, or you can have it locally delivered in the same way as you were doing previously. Now, in terms of those retail stores direct deliveries, it does come at a charge. So currently, the average price of the delivery from one of our trade stores, if you want it delivered in white van man, one person who will drop it at the side of the road or on your doorstep, or if you really, really talk to him nicely, might help you carry it in if you give him a 20 quid, is probably about 150 quid. That's the average that we charge at the moment. In terms of direct delivery from Darlington, we've tiered it in terms of the kitchen. And the simple fact from that is it costs a lot of money to deliver 2-man delivery from Darlington to anywhere in the country.
And one of the things that I'd like to interact here, Chris, at the moment, is people thinking, oh, £325. It's a 2-man, it's taken into your house, it's not one guy, and it's coming from Darlington. Now, we can hide them prices, but one of the philosophies of LNPG is we are explicit on costs. I could hide some of them costs and put the kitchens up by £100, and you won't know whether or not, it's contract pricing. So we do not play around with LNPG pricing for the kitchen. On the trade side, yes, you might get it for £120 delivery, but these are fixed costs. So if your kitchen is below 3,000, it's going to cost you 325. Okay, because this is a retail service, but we wanted to open the retail stores to all LNPG members. It is an explicit price, not hidden. I just want to make sure that all the members who are watching this later know that. So above 3 to 5, it's 300, and then over 6,000, it's 165.
Chris, can we dig into this a little bit in terms of, because this is something that I wasn't aware of at all. Well, I was always aware that we couldn't use retail stores and that there were kind of mix-ups around. Sometimes you'd get a member that walks into a retail store and they'd be told, look, we can't serve you. And there was no real explicit reason as to why that was. This was down to the delivery, right? The fact that trade stores have got a warehouse where they can physically hold that kitchen. So how does delivery work with a standard trade store?
Well, so a standard trade store at the moment, you can either collect from the warehouse. So you go into the trade counter, you order your kitchen, and then you can collect it yourself. Usually it would be probably an Ascoli or a Luna kitchen effectively. Or we can organise for a local, effectively white van man to deliver it on your behalf. That cost of that white van man will vary in terms of where you are in the country, where it's being delivered to. As I say, looking back through the last year, the average cost of that delivery from the trade store out by white van man has been £150. However, that £150 is, as I say, it's a local guy. He'll be on his own. It isn't a two-man delivery. It is specified as being curbside. It will depend on that white van man what service you get in terms of that delivery. So it's effectively exactly the same as Howdens do from their estates as well. In terms of the direct delivery from Darlington, this is simply because retail solar stores do not have warehouses, so we have not got any kitchen stock there. So we have to deliver them out direct delivery. So what will happen is you will order the kitchen, then we will book you a slot in terms of when that kitchen will be delivered, and it'll be a named day, and it will come out through our XPO fleet effectively with a two-man delivery service who will unload it into your house, into the room of your choice.
And the other great thing about this, what we call DD, direct delivery, is everything is scanned off the lorry.
Someone just prompted me to say that in the background, Nick, so you beat into it.
Everything is scanned off the lorry. So you'll know whether you've got everything or you haven't got everything. I am correct in saying that, Chris, am I?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, yeah.
Okay,
great.
good.
So we've got a comment here from Vanessa who said another 150 quid gets you two-man careful home direct delivery, which is much better. And I think certainly in some circumstances, you mentioned the deserts, the jungles. If you're in central London, you can't move for Selco, Magnet kind of working together branches. But up until now, they don't have that warehouse space. So actually getting a delivery out across London can cost a hell of a lot more. The same is true for a lot of Scotland as well. So we had an example there of Aberdeen. The closest store is Perth, which is 150 miles round trip. That delivery is going to cost a hell of a lot of money to take that kitchen 150 miles.
And the other good thing on this, Anthony, is if you're not near a local store, it's coming a few, they're going to do an online design, which is great. Yeah.
You are right, Nick, but let's let Magnet present what Magnet are going to say.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah, because that followed on. I only said that because that followed on
nicely, but let them take advantage of it. Go on, Chris.
Can we move on a slide, please, Laura? It may be the next slide. I can't remember. No. So in terms of service proposition, things that we have been really trying to emphasise internally to make sure we can improve our service. So one we've already touched on, the dedicated central LNPG admin is Krishna Calvert. Krishna is dedicated to LNPG. She doesn't do anything else within our business. She does speak to LNPG members daily. She speaks to stores daily, and she speaks to your team, Anthony, on a daily basis to just try and keep things flowing smoothly. One that you were insistent on, Nick, at the conference, which I didn't quite understand to the extent I do now, was giving our designers direct access to the LNPG office. And This is something that's gone out in communications internally. And I do now understand it, because it is a case of there are certain things that can stop us giving a quote when you go into our stores. One of which is, right, you might not have your membership card, or you might not have the address might not be registered fully, or we've got some query. Any sort of query in the past has probably stopped us from being able to give the quote. Now the guys have been encouraged to say, just pick up the phone, ring the LNPG office, we can sort it there and then. We can get on with doing the quote.
Absolutely, because if they haven't uploaded their property, they would normally send them away and make another appointment. Well, that's like 2 appointments. Pick up the phone, speak to us, and we can get the issue resolved there and then. So it's about having continuity, but it's also building up the relationship with all the branches and the designers as well.
Absolutely. We've also made sure that LNPG has been now featured for quite some time, to be fair, in terms of the weekly internal communications that go out from store operations out to the stores. We just want to keep on driving that communication, to drive the understanding, to make sure that it stays as important as it was when Nick and Anthony stood up at the conference. One big barrier in the past was, well, LNPG is part of Magnet Projects in a store view. So what we've made sure we've done now is we've been back through the remuneration packages for the stores, and both the salespeople, the managers, and everyone in the store now benefits from LNPG sales. The reason everyone in the store benefits is it goes into a cabinet accumulator, effectively the same as any other sale through that store. And the more cabinets they sell, the better they perform. And so every sale counts in terms of the store now, which is really important internally.
So members won't hear anymore. If we do, we want to hear about it, is, oh, I don't earn anything from LNPG sales. That is over now. That is officially over.
Yeah. And then just to try and re-emphasize things over the next few months, we're putting in an additional LNPG incentive program to sales colleagues that will run through summer, through to the middle of October, so that our next conference, next November, we can stand up and award some prizes out to the best sales colleagues for serving LNPG. From that point of view, it will form part of the weekly communication as well. So they will see a leaderboard or leaderboards that will show how they're performing on LNPG, and it will incentivize behavior to follow the service proposition that we've put in place. So we hope in all of these things, we will continue to push, we will continue to improve, but we will make sure that we give you a better service.
In regards to the remuneration, Chris, that was in a way an insignificant change from a customer's point of view, in the fact that it shouldn't really matter, but it really did cause a lot of issues. And I remember when we were at the conference in November, we spoke to a lot of designers who said, look, I do a lot of LNPG. I really like doing LNPG because they tend to come in, know what they want, get the job done quick, but I don't earn anything for doing it. I just do it to kind of keep myself busy. That has not just changed today. That actually changed. We announced that back in November. So that's been an ongoing thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been an ongoing thing. I think with all these things, there is, you make the change and then you need to tell people and tell people and tell people about the change continuously. I think another part of it, in terms of all of this service proposition stuff internally, where we've been working with store operations, is to just make it simpler for the stores. And there's been a lot of process and systems in the background that we've had to try to strip away to just make it simpler to deal with LNPG. And that, it sounds ridiculous, it shouldn't be hard in the first place, but there were a lot of things that we had to strip away, and then a lot of myths that we need to bust to make sure that they see you guys as being as worthy a customer as anyone else who walks into our store. We need to give the same service to everybody who walks into our stores. And so, yeah, it's something that we fully expect weekly, monthly, annually, we need to keep on reinforcing. But we're in a position to do that now. And as I say, we are definitely more joined up than ever from our side, and we're more joined up with you guys. So we will get the feedback from you, we'll give the feedback to you, and we'll make sure we improve together.
Yeah, it's shifting the culture.
And from our point of view, that we have a weekly, going to 2 weekly meetings, that we're seeing the senior manager, and it's very frank talking about what we can improve, what we can't do, what we can do, and how we do things. So that's been a fresh breath of air, so that we're moving in the right direction. From when I first met you, Chris, one of the things I kept saying to you was, "Is this really going to happen?"
Yeah, we're getting
And
there.
it is happening.
It is happening. We're getting there. We can move on. So yeah, trade offers available to all LNPG members. So these are, as Nick already alluded to, these are where we are effectively doing things that might be loss leading, and we do them to try to drive trade footfall into our stores to sell more kitchens. Well, we want you guys coming into our stores as well. So we've opened them up. They've already been open to you for a couple of months now, but we want to really start shouting and pushing it in terms with you guys. These are, you get the best of both worlds, it says. So if the LNPG discount gives you the best price, you get the LNPG discount. If the trade promotion's lower price, you get the trade promotion. We want to highlight a few things that are changing next week. So the current promotion runs to the end of this week. There is new trade promotions coming out from the 2nd of June. So you have got, and I'll read here, Beck oven and hob packs from £239, electrical appliance range offers, laminate worktops from 49 quid, compact laminates from £349, Frankie sink and tap packs from £139, 7mm flooring from £8 a square metre, and oak doors from £60. All of these can be bought through your LNPG membership, and all of them offer really good value. So do look, do see what you can buy. You can buy anything in store.
When do these specific offers end, Chris? These new ones that are coming in?
And we're going to start looking to where we can emailing them out to your members. But effectively, we run most of the trade deals will run for 3 months at a time, effectively. So if you come into store, you'll be able to find on the trade counters, there will be the leaflet. We'll start mailing it out where we can do to the members. We'll start emailing offers through to you guys as well. But effectively, from the 2nd of June, it will run for the next 3 months in terms of those offers.
This again, it's about the culture shift. We've not had this and a lot of these changes for over a decade now. I was in a store Tuesday morning, and I had to remind them that no LNPG members do get access to these trade offers because they weren't aware. We've got another member here, Nicola, who I actually spoke to today, so I'm aware of which branch this is. They told her that she wasn't able to access these trade deals as well. So it's great to have you here live and recorded actually saying, no, we do get access to this all the time. But in terms of if a branch is kind of saying, no, that's not happening, they're kind of stuck in the past a little bit. What's our best way to get around that?
I think the first thing is if we let either your office know or Krishna know, then we can get straight onto that store to make sure that they know that no, they can have these offers. In terms of in our weekly calls, I know we're highlighting in the weekly calls where service isn't quite to the standard where we want it to be, and that's being fed straight through to store operations, who are then having calls with those store ops to make sure. So it's a continuous communication if we can do. It's something that, look, we need to improve. We need to improve all the time. So feedback to us, we'll make sure we feed it back to store ops, and we'll make sure it gets improved for next time.
Absolutely. And we can bring that up at the monthly meeting. But first, they ring us, we ring Krishna, Krishna rings the branch and tells them, no, the offers are now available to LNPG.
It's simple as that.
Easy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we're really over communicating with you guys and being on these webinars so that we can really sing from the rooftops that we're doing this. You will get pockets where you might have the odd new member of staff, or perhaps the message hasn't landed, but the more we communicate, we're ringing the stores, we're ringing stores that aren't doing a lot of LNPG sales, asking, do they need any support? We're visiting stores and we're out seeing customers as well. So there's a lot of work going on in the background to really reach out to all of the stores to make sure they're aware of this exciting opportunity for them and for your members.
Exactly right, yeah.
What else have we got coming soon?
So other things coming soon, if we can move on a slide, we've got some new ranges, I think, that are highlighted next. So there's 4 new ranges. There's two on this first slide. Now, this will make you laugh, Nick. I've been given a little bit of blurb to read out by marketing to make sure I sell these ranges properly. I'll try and do it without laughing if I can do. So we're excited to introduce Lunar Mineral Blue, that's the one on the left-hand side, to our popular Lunar range. This striking new handleless frontal combines the beauty of a deep mineral-inspired blue with the sleek functionality of handleless design. I won't go on. Look, in terms of it's Lunar, which is our best-selling range to LNPG, the matte blue is the most on-trend colourway we've got at the moment. We expect it will sell very well. Ascoli Matte Limestone. Ascoli, again, is our second best-selling range in terms of to LNPG. Matte Limestone is a colourway that we introduced last year into our more premium paint-to-order ranges, and it's the best seller in terms of those ranges. So we think it's a no-brainer putting it into the Ascoli range for you guys as well. If we can flick over one more slide, there's 2 other a little bit more premium ranges here. So Reed is a brand new frontal range. So you can probably just about see it on the slide there, but effectively it's a reeded frontal, which means it's got a ribbed effect to the frontal. It's available in 27 paint to order colorways. And I'm mentioning that especially right now because also, as well as direct delivery, paint to order is also now available to LNPG members. A couple of things to note on paint to order. As it says, it is paint to order, therefore it is on a longer lead time. So you're looking at a minimum of a 9-week lead time for paint to order. And it's quite expensive. Now, it is a premium.
It's bloody expensive.
It is bloody expensive. However, it gives you the full offering. So we're making sure that you guys can buy anything that any consumer can buy within Magnet. So it's all open to you. Ambleside Lake is the blue colourway that you can see on the island and you can see on the sink run there. It's another blue. It's an update of the midnight colourway. Ambleside has replaced our Winchester range. Thank you very much, guys. Our Winchester range. It's a modern shaker, effectively. Again, it's been pictured there with the limestone, which is the best-selling colourway that we've introduced. So 4 very on-trend ranges that we'll be launching this summer. If I can go on one more slide. Also coming soon, something that Nick suggested earlier, teased with earlier, so virtual appointments. So again, looking at that desert and how we address the desert, we've got a virtual design team in place who we want to open up to LNPG members. Now, this is coming soon because we just need to make sure that we get the booking and the process right. And it's being worked on and being tested right now. So I'm expecting that we'll be able to launch in the next, looking at you two guys,
4 to 6 weeks-ish.
4 weeks, Dan's saying. We'll go with 4 weeks rather than 4
I
to 6
thought I
weeks.
heard 6 there, Chris.
I'm sure I heard an ish.
He said 4 to 6 weeks-ish.
Just aiming out.
I will keep on pushing to get that in 4 weeks' time. But we'll communicate it out through you guys and we'll communicate exactly how you can book that design service. It's a full virtual service. It is what it says. It allows you to sit at home, have your kitchen designed in front of you, order the kitchen, direct delivery, exactly we said, from a retail store. So it just opens up, hopefully, to the entire LNP membership Magnet, rather than having to travel quite a long way for some of you to get to a store.
I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Chris, is that free for LNPG members?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no charge for doing the virtual design service. No, okay. Absolutely not. We just need to make sure that we can book it in and give you that booking process, which is being tested at the moment from an IT point of view. So once that's been tested, sorted, we'll communicate it out.
One thing that's fantastic about, so this again will utilize that direct delivery network, won't it? Well, It goes straight from your head office in Darlington. But with your expansion of retail stores as well, because of course a lot of our members will have properties that are not where they live. They may have a property in Newcastle, but they live in London, for instance. So they would have to, with the trade network, deal with that trade store closest to the property in Newcastle. But with the retail stores, you can actually go in, deal with the designer, have a cup of tea with them, go through the whole design process. And because that is being delivered directly from Darlington, regardless of which store you're in, you don't have to deal with a store 100 miles away. Am I right in saying that?
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right. And once the virtual design service is up and running, you can sit at home and do exactly that as well.
One step even further, as it stands right now, because retail is available right now, as in the retail stores.
Yeah.
A statement keeps coming up, and I've been asked to ask you. Now, am I correct in saying this, that we want people to take their own measurements to bring it into the store? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility where Magnet can go out and do a check measure?
Now that wasn't on your list, Nick, but I'll take that away and see it.
Because members are actually asking.
There shouldn't be a problem why we can't. I just need to make sure that we've aligned it with store ops and got the process in place of what they need to do. So yes, add it as number 13 on the list. Okay. And we'll get it ticked off.
Okay, because we've always been told since COVID, we can't go out and measure. Okay, but we keep getting asked, yes, especially when the member is in London and the house is up north or vice versa. It really does become a challenge.
Yeah. That's something that, look, until right now, it hadn't been on my radar, to be fair. So we need to have a look at it, Nick, properly. So because let me look at how we do it, what we need to do, but we'll look at what we can do around that.
See, again, we could do it, but we'd have to put the cost of the kitchen up inside the contract pricing. Yeah. Howdens and people like that, yes, are more expensive, because I've seen loads of quotes this year, are a lot more expensive. They're charging an extra £800-900. Of course, the design is going to come out. Yeah. We've taken the meat off the bone as much as we can to offer you a good service, but there's some things just become not cost effective. I'm talking to my members here. Yeah. So where we can do it, Chris and I and Matt and Anthony and Jason, we will look at that to see where we can. It might even be a cost. I don't know. I'm talking off the hip here. Yes, but we'll look at it.
Yeah, I think you're right to mention, Nick, that this is a service that's provided by Magnet for retail customers. It's a service that's provided by a lot of other kitchen retailers as well, but importantly more so on the retail side, because that's where the margin is to go out and make a few £1,000s off the back of going out and measuring a few properties. With LNPG, that margin doesn't exist, but I'd love to explore the possibility of maybe 20-30 quid and we can get it done, and then we know that member's serious about buying that kitchen as well.
I think at the moment, being totally open with you right now, we aren't consistent in terms of that measurement service in any part of our business right now. So we are looking at it. It is something that is being reviewed at the moment in terms of, do we measure, and at what part of the journey do we measure as well? But it's something that we'll add to the list. We are trying to tick off as many things as we possibly can as we go, and we'll keep on bringing it up.
I do apologise for putting a curveball in on you on that, Chris, because it came up. So I just read it and thought, well, I might as well ask the question. Okay.
We mentioned on the kind of run through that we did earlier today, because one of the questions that we had from another member of the staff at Magnet was what questions are going to come in, and if we'd have known that, then we don't need to do the webinar. part of this is to put this to the members and also find out, okay, what gaps do we now have left over? How can we keep moving this forward? Because that list that we've got, and maybe this is a good segue into what you're about to talk about, Nick, is we have been consistently, I say we, I've done very little. It's been Magnet that have been consistently checking things off and moving this forward in a way that is really quite unprecedented in the relationship that I've had with Magnet over the last 8 to 10 years. Laura, can we move on to Nick's last slide? I think we'll be able to see that.
So we got.
Sorry, we'll go back one. We skipped one. Let's finish this one.
Yeah.
So in terms of going through the pack, the coming soon parts as well. So more local engagement. So what we've started doing is working with LNPG to be able to make our stores more proactive in terms of contacting you guys as the members. We want to start sending you out offers via email. We want to start sending you out offers via post. But we also want our stores to start ringing you guys and start talking to you guys about, well, what can we do for you? That's something that is a continual improvement. So we are starting to work close with LNPG, and we will start to get the communication where the local store will call you. They won't pester you all the time, but they will call you to reach out to show them what you can do, what we can do for you. The final point on this slide is one that is in terms of local member events, and I'm really quite excited about this. But on the 12th of June, our Magnet showroom in Nottingham is opening its doors from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. exclusively for LNPG members. And that will be an exclusive night for LNPG to come in, to see the showroom, to have a browse around. We will have some suppliers there as well. So we've got Woodpecker Flooring, who are going to attend that event, and we've got LPD Doors, who do all the internal doors that we buy, are going to be attending the event as well. We want to start doing local activity like that out of more of our stores. So we're trying to really push that Nottingham event because we want to make it a success, because then I want to be able to say, right, well, we'll do other events out of other showrooms across the country. And we're happy to say, well, we can open our doors on an evening for LNPG members to exclusively come in and browse and have a look and have a chat with the store. So we will look to do more local engagement as we go.
Right.
Is not to be understated. I think so. I'll be attending this event as well. We'll have myself, the design team, got a few of the other local stores. So I think I was in Loughborough the other day, and they said that they're going up. Leicester, Derby, a few different stores will be attending this, and it's to give members a sense of, okay, this is what's on offer. This is putting a face to the name and starting to build that relationship on a kind of ground level as well. But the great thing about this isn't just that there's an event happening, it's where this idea came from. One of the designers in the Magnet Nottingham branch, a lady called Alison, she had this idea. She picked up the phone and said, look, this is what I want to do. I want to try and get as much LNPG business as possible because this is great for our business. Now, that's not something we ever would have done before making those changes to properly remunerate the designers and the branch and everything else there as well. So that is going to be an absolutely fantastic event, and I really look forward. I hope that we're able to make a success of it and do more, further up north, further down south, everywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Can we move on a slide? I think it's back on to you, is it, Nick?
This is the bit that I segued you very nicely into, Nick.
Oh, yes, you did, didn't you? I was actually thinking something. Chris, if you really pull everything you say off tonight, I can retire.
You look like
the bane of my life has been Magnet for 15 years.
And that's what we're all here for, right, guys?
Yeah, I can say my job is done. Oh dear me! That's what I was thinking. If this all goes, as it has been, then honestly, fantastic. We talked about the conference, and you can see me talking there, and also the close shop with all the branch managers. But one of the things I want to go through is what we asked for. So, Laura, can you push one at a time? Branch benefits from LNPG. Okay. Branches benefit from LNPG. What does that mean? Means the designer, whether he does a trade or LNPG, is going to earn money from that deal. Okay. So that was our biggest criticism over the last 10 years. We've dealt with that now. So if anybody says to you when you walk in a branch, I don't get paid for doing LNPG, just ring my office. We'll speak to Chris now, or we'll ring the branch and say that's now not correct. Okay. Number 2, designers get full commission. Same thing. Okay. One of the things I was pushing for was because of the above 2, where we would have our own channel, and they looked at it. So LNPG would have its own contract division channel so that the branches could see clearly where they were going to benefit from it. But Chris and Jason and everybody else in the team has done that, but within channel 3. So is it each month or each week they get the figures? Chris?
They can see it weekly, can't they? Weekly.
Yeah. They can actually see what their branch is. It goes on their profit and loss account. The salespeople can see what they've earned. So it goes in all their figures. So we didn't need to set up its own channel. Because one of the things that I was thinking was that if we had an LNPG own channel, it would bring us and the branches closer together with the members. But Chris said we don't need to do that. And that to set up its own channel would cost an awful lot of money, and also about 6 months to design the back office to look after that. So that is now not going to happen. So 3.
Nick, one of the guys here had just pointed out actually from, so I mentioned in terms of the remuneration that it goes to a team pot, which is all built on cabinet volumes. Yeah. That gets updated daily, and they can see LNPG as part of that team pot.
It's even better.
As well.
Okay,
so,
good. This is Anthony and I've got 2 different views on this. Yeah, this is my big one. Yeah, because that was the pain again, was members would open a second trade account, a second LNPG account to get the trade offers, and not every branch was prepared to do that. Yeah, and slip through the offers. And it was a real headache. And senior management in Magnet, the old Magnet, stopped it happening. So you now have direct access to LNPG offers and also the trade offers. For me, that was one of the biggest gripes that I had with Magnet. Yeah, why can't we get the best of both worlds? And we've now got it. Number 4. And again, we were never allowed in the what we call the retail stores, because we had no way of getting it delivered, because they don't have what I call a shed to store your kitchen. Chris and his team have sorted that out by what we call DD, direct delivery. And when somebody said this to me on stage, I went, what's DD? Direct debit, isn't it? Yeah, remember that. And so we've now got all the retail stores. So whether it's retail or trade, you've now got access to that, which is great news. That's coming, because what I have also asked for is, can we do on our monthly sheet that we spend out special offers, can we please get some special offers to you better than what the trade and LNPG as some good deals, so we can promote Magnet with inside our network? And they're working on that at the moment. So
yeah, we're definitely working on that, Nick, and hopefully we'll get something very soon for you guys. Good. So yes, it will come.
One of the other things was, and this was blocked before, branches able to contact the members, but also contact us. Yeah, that was really important, that there was a 2-way conversation. Only this week, Chris, I've spoken to a branch manager. Yep.
Yeah.
Great guy. Won't give you the area. We've sorted the issue out.
Good.
And it was really good, because all I said to him was, Nick, they've had the money, but what they didn't do was put it on the card. They just transferred it straight to their bank account. just open the communication, which was really good. We're going to revive the newsletter. It used to be posted to LNPG. What they're going to do is they're going to email it to you. So over the next 3 months, sometime this year, we're going to revive the LNPG newsletter to all LNPG members and tell stories about what LNPG members have actually done and show pictures and special promotions across the board like we used to do.
Yeah.
Again, where the branch managers did it, we've asked the designers to be able to ring us and we can speak to them instead of going always to Krishna, to going to you, Jason, and Mark. We can just pick up the phone and they can pick the phone up to us, which is, again, what I've tried to do. Number 10. Yeah. Now, end of line products. I don't know how you're going to sort this one out because they're held centrally. How do we get it across to somebody living down in Wales or Newquay or London? Because they're held up north. I really don't know how we're going to do that one, Chris. That's down to you. Okay.
There's a couple of things being discussed around that. So one in terms of end-of-line kitchen furniture, we can possibly put something together where we can utilize the direct delivery side of things, but it needs quite a bit of work to get there, to be fair. There's also then looking at, right, where we do something like a Nottingham in the future.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see whether we can open up some special offers that can then go out through that, which effectively would be looking at some of the discontinued stock. Again, we just need to make sure we clean it up for the store because we need to make sure that they can access it at a decent price that doesn't punish them effectively for trying to help sell some of that stuff. But we'll work on it and we'll get there. It won't be quite as smooth as opening it up just everything to everywhere. We'll have to do it a bit more targeted, but we'll get some offers.
Okay. And I can't remember now what 11, 12 and 13 was. I can't remember.
Here it is, Nick. Branches work with tradesmen.
You got another slide, haven't you?
Yeah.
Have we?
So Nick added in 2 more earlier on today and said we need this as well, which, to be fair, has been in discussion over the last few months as well. The first one, they're both to do with tradesmen. The first is that the branch deals directly with the tradesman in case there's any issues. Similar to what Nick was saying earlier on about talking to members, rather than going back and forth and up the chain and back down the chain, spending 5 weeks to get an issue resolved. The branch just deals directly with the tradesperson, deals directly with LNPG as well to get that issue sorted. And number 12, again, dealing with tradespeople is actually putting an incentive in place. So one of the potential issues with LNPG is, of course, we're getting you great value on the products themselves, but it can be sometimes difficult to source a tradesman. Well, actually, Magnet will put an incentive for that tradesperson. So come in, fit this LNPG kitchen, and we'll give you this, we'll give you that. That brings more core business to them for the trade, makes life easier for LNPG members. Everyone's a winner. That one, I think, is going to be a real big hit.
Yeah. And also, if there's an issue between something missing off the kitchen or something's going wrong, the tradesman then can speak to the branch manager and they've already had a connection.
Yeah,
makes the job a lot
relationship's
easier.
off to a good start.
Yeah.
So
from my point of view,
on here, Nick, but you mentioned it earlier on, which is what we kind of sideswiped Chris with earlier on in the webinar.
Yeah, the measurements, home measure.
Yeah, the measurements.
Yeah,
but from what we've been given, what we've asked for, from a personal point of view, Chris and Jason and the guy sitting it, because I know he's important, the one you're looking at, Chris. I know it looks like you're looking at me. And the CEO of Magnet and the director of branches, just like to say a big thank you. This has not been easy. We've had some very heated discussions. Yep, putting hair out, but we got there.
I agree, Nick, but I would say actually that it's been a hell of a lot easier over the last 12 months actually making progress, dealing with people that we're sitting on a meeting and everyone's got the same goal than it has been at any point previous to that.
Oh, absolutely. So all these things are going to make that process. Now, I can't stop an idiot working for Magnet. So if he's had a bad day, yes, and he's rude or whatever, he's not rude to you because you're LNPG. Yep. He's just having a bad day. Yep. If you get any major issues, pick the phone up to us and we're here to help. And we normally get them all resolved. The issues that we had, if I look at the sheet, yeah, there would be 15. I don't even know if we've got 5 on it. They've just disappeared because Magnet want you in their stores, which has been fantastic. And I'd just like to say thank you, Chris, on behalf of our members. And proof will be in the pudding, because in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, we'll do another one of this, and none of this is happening. Yeah, your branches, managers, and your staff are still horrible to LNPG members. My members are going to let you know.
Absolutely. I think on that though, Nick, I think we're working so closely with you, talking to you so regularly, we will stop that kind of behaviour. We can't, as you say, we can't rule out a bad day in the office, but we're working so closely with you. We want to work with your members, and we want them to have those evenings where, like Nottingham, because I think that really helps build the relationship up. I think we'll stop those kind of
absolutely. And there's messages coming up here, Jason. Can I give a shout out to X? Can I give a shout out to Y? Which is great.
Great to see.
Look,
and we've only just started. It takes time to change things, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's not just the decision, it's also constantly reinforcing that in not just communication, but in the way that we operate as well. So I'm going to run through some of those shout outs and some of the questions as well. So let's go through some of the questions. Just before I go through this, you reminded me there, Nick, and I had to laugh, but it's only a few years ago, you were actually banned from calling branches. You yourself were not allowed to call branches because of the relationship that we had with some of the branches, and we couldn't understand why. We are a million miles away from that now. And, you mentioned yourself, you had a conversation with the branch of the day and it seemed to go well, so that's no bad thing. So a question from James here, in fact just a statement, but a great statement. Need 3 kitchens to go into one of my commercial buildings, so I'm keen to see what Magnet can offer this evening. Now, do we have any tips, Nick, for someone that's getting a couple of kitchens all at the same time?
Yes. Again, going to the branch, tell them that you want 3 designs done, so they give you one enough time. Yes. Because if a salesman thinks that he's only going to do 1 kitchen, and Chris, I'm going to ask you this question. If it is 2 or 3, can the stores deal with that, or do you want that passed over to projects? That's just a quick question.
2 or 3, absolutely, stores can deal with that. Absolutely no problem at all.
Okay. But just let them know what you're going to look for 3 designs. Okay. Don't just walk in at one appointment thinking he's going to do 3 designs, because that ain't going to happen. Yep. Let them know that you want 3 designs done.
Second thing, keep in contact with us at LNPG as well. Once you get those quotes, if you need anything chasing, we're really, really good at getting that done now. We've had that process up and running for a few years. It's worked really, really well. We'll also check the quotes as well.
One other thing I forgot to mention, because it hasn't been mentioned. Does everybody know that Magnet now are in Selcos?
We're in 5 Selcos.
Sorry, Chris?
We're in 5 Selcos as it stands at the moment.
Yeah, 5. And
I'm going to have to try to name them now. So we're in Walthamstow, we're in Cricklewood, Croydon, Isleworth,
Tottenham.
And Tottenham, yeah.
Are we embarking as well?
Oh, and Enfield, sorry, 6. Enfield, yes. Not embarking, no.
Okay. And LNPG members can use them.
Yes, you can, yeah. Exactly.
This dovetails quite well into a question that I've got here, a couple of questions, which is, Michael's asked Melton, Mowbray, Newark, Lincoln, Peterborough, and I've got another question later on of, are all retail stores? I'm going to rephrase this and repackage this to include Selco as well. Is there a Magnet outfit that a member can walk in at any point from tomorrow onwards that isn't going to be able to deal with LNPG?
The franchise. So we've got 1 franchise store at the moment. Well, actually, we've got 1 franchise store and we've got 3 in Scotland, which are effectively trade partnerships, which aren't open just yet. So the franchise is in Tunbridge Wells. The 3 are in builders merchants or timber merchants called Donaldson's in Scotland. We will work to see how we can get those opened up, but at the moment there isn't the process and mechanics in the back for those ones. So Tunbridge Wells franchise, and then Donaldson's in Scotland. There's 3. There's 1 in Glasgow, which is Clydebank. There's 1 in Wishaw, and there's 1 in Broxburn.
Everything else with magnet above the door, you can go and you can use.
Yeah, please come in.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
Paul's asked, when is this effective from? That being the retail solar stores access.
Right now, it was communicated out. It's been communicated over last month to the stores. We wanted to make sure we could communicate it 2, 3, 4 times to those before then we had this webinar to start communicating it to you guys. It will be ongoing in terms of our communication. There will be there'll be people who've missed it, people who've not got it yet. Let us know which ones they are, and we will make sure that they are educated and know exactly what they can and can't do with LNPG.
That's something that, I'm really glad that we've been able to do. It's something we've learned from experience now of not launching it internally and launching it externally to LNPG members on the same day, because you end up with teething issues. This has been drip fed throughout Magnet for the last month, so we should be in a much better position. Although, of course, there will still be 1 or 2 that are, living in the past a little bit. Vanessa's very quickly becoming my favorite commenter here. For me as a sales professional, they should always have been remunerated. It echoes back to a comment that Nick made earlier on, which is to say that some of these changes that we're making, perhaps some of the new faces at Magnet don't seem hugely enthusiastic about, because it just seems obvious. It is, well, of course they should always be remunerated regardless of who's buying the kitchen. Of course this should happen. Of course that should happen. But for 10 years, it's not happened. The fact that it is now happening should get us in a much, much better position.
Yeah, I agree. It should have happened all along. I think one of the points to me, which sort of half makes me smile but half makes me weep, is the fact of, well, you guys talk about what channel LNPG goes down. You sort of look at that and go, that should have absolutely no relevance to a customer whatsoever. Every customer should be treated the same. And us putting it through channels is our own internal process. And we just need to break down those barriers internally to go, well, it's the same customer. We deal with the customer in the same way. And yes, you're right. We should remunerate people in the same way, regardless of who comes in the door. So, yeah.
Charlotte, one of these shout outs. So this is for Chris O'Donohoe from Preston branch. Got 2 shout outs here from Charlotte and from LaHaye, both of which say he's amazing. He's in your Preston branch. I wanted to say that out loud on the recording for you both.
Can you pass that on, please, Dan?
I will.
Good. Thank you.
Chris and Preston.
We've got a few questions which we've answered already about the virtual design service. So that's going to be a DD delivery direct from Darlington. And a couple about going out and measuring up the kitchens, which is now point 13 in the list. One good question here, actually, which try not to give us a boring answer if you can, boys, is comparing Magnet kitchens to the examples here are DIY kitchens and IKEA, but against the rest of the market. How do members find out the technical differences of what makes a good carcass and a bad carcass and a good door and a bad door? Because there's technical data sheets on our website. We specifically focus on the doors. Is there any more information out there?
Yeah, there is more information out there. I think from the bits that we're most proud of, I would say, is so there's a testing body in the UK called FIRA, and the highest standard that our products can be tested to, any kitchen product can be tested to, is Fire Gold. We've had Fire Gold consecutively for over 30 years now. And one thing that I was with a customer just today up in Darlington, showing round our Darlington factory. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is the testing facilities that we've got in Darlington now can replicate every test that Fire do to produce Fire Gold. And we can actually go beyond some of that now. And what we make sure we do when we launch any product, and we do it then if we get any reports of any issues, is we put them through those tests internally to be able to see, well, what's the reaction, to then feed it back through, change the supply chain, change the quality, whatever we need to do. We've had other bits like we are which best cabinet. We've had that now for 5 years on the trot. So again, it's an external body recognising hopefully that we've got some decent quality going on. I'm not going to slag off the competition. Look, most people in the UK try and make sure that they produce a quality product, and we do exactly the same. I think the main thing is we just need to make sure that we test it. We need to make sure it is fit for purpose, and that's exactly what we try to do. And we are committed to making sure that we invest in that process all the time.
That's a very diplomatic answer, Chris, but I would say that there's only one that's been sitting top of which for 5 years, and it ain't the rest of them, is it? So Alison has asked, what would be a normal lead time for an order from Darlington? Great question.
From 3 weeks, but with PTO, it's 6 weeks.
Yeah, so one of the standard ranges from 3 weeks. So you could get it in 3 weeks. You need to obviously book your delivery slots. It depends on you guys in terms of when you want it. Paint to order, which is now available to LNPG, is manufactured. It is painted to order. So that is 9 weeks plus in terms of delivery. But standard range is 3 weeks.
Nicola's mentioned, just a thought, could you try and do some discontinued items cheap to LNPG members, which is one of the points that we mentioned earlier on. Maybe it's going to be a bit more of a regional focus there because of just where these items are located. You don't want to be making, getting a real great deal on a fridge freezer or whatever, and then have to pay twice the value to get it delivered 600 miles away. But we're certainly looking into that. Interesting question from Rupert here, who's mentioned that he says, we were precious sold a quote or offer was only valid for 2 days. Is this common practice by magnets? The first I've ever heard of it.
Definitely shouldn't be only valid for 2 days. So if we can get that store, then we'll have a conversation with the store. Quotes will be valid for how long, Dan?
Well, on B2B, it's 120 days, isn't it?
Yeah, 120 days.
120 days. And from the LNPG members, we had a price increase about a month and a half ago, something like that. Our prices will not be changing in the near future at all because it's part of our contract. So 2 days doesn't make any sense at all. I'd be interested to know what branch that is. Skipped past an interesting one there. How do we access that the tradesman gets a benefit? That's still a little in the future, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, so we're looking to do basically a promotion that LNPG members can, on buying a kitchen, can effectively give a promotion over to their tradesman to give some benefit to the tradesman as well. We want, with your guys' permission, to obviously speak to those tradesmen, open accounts with those tradesmen and deal with those tradesmen as well, because they'll be fitting other kitchens besides LNPG kitchens. So we want to engage with them, but we want to do it where it works through you guys. So it gives some benefit to LNPG, some benefit to the tradesman.
Lovely. A couple more shout outs. We've got Carl at Huddersfield, who is fantastic. I believe he's the branch manager. We've also got Dave and Emma, Dave being the manager and Emma being the kitchen designer at Leatherhead. Both have been fantastic. Whizzing through these questions, they keep coming in, and I'm usually quite a quick reader, but this is getting Slightly ridiculous now. Have we got any update on the Cheltenham store as the trade counter appears to have shut down?
So Cheltenham store is remaining open as a store. The trade side of the business effectively wasn't viable, so it will stay as a store. You'll be able to still buy kitchens through Cheltenham. It will become a retail only, so it will become direct delivery effectively. So apologies about that, but the trade side of the store just wasn't viable.
Okay, fine. And just to answer another question there, if a member goes into a retail store, gets everything done through retail, that is a direct delivery. It can't be delivered to another branch and then taken out from that branch, can it?
And no, it needs to go direct delivery because it needs to sit with that store, and the store will own it from a service, a quality, everything else point of view.
Stuff. I will say here that Krishna, although I don't know whether you guys are going to be aware of it, Krishna is the account manager who we've praised a few times. I'm going to praise her again, has been going through and answering a lot of these questions while we've been talking. So she's even, beavering away at 8 o'clock at night on this webinar that is an LNPG webinar. She's still working hard. So she is absolutely fantastic. A couple more shout outs. We've got Guy at Swindon. We've got Joanne at Dudley. And I'm going to put a shout out as well because I had a great service the other day from Hannah at Loughborough. So a lot of really good designers, a lot of really good managers up and down the country looking after LNPG. We do hear a lot more good than we ever hear bad, but of course it's the bad that kind of gets the emails and phone calls firing off. Okay, Rupert's told me that I'm not going to mention the branch that he's mentioned, but I'll pass that over tomorrow as the people that said you've only got 2 days. Aside from that, I think that is effectively, we've got a lot of thank yous coming through, a lot of encouragement about the direction that this is moving. Of course, this is an opportunity for us as well to see what else we can do. So if there's any other suggestions, do let us know, and we'll always ask the question. It might not always be possible, but we'll always ask the question. But what I want to do just before we close is say thank you so much, Chris, Jason, Matt, Dan, everyone at Krishna as well, everyone at Magnet over the last 6 months who have been absolutely fantastic, made this job a hell of a lot easier, I tell you. And we're all working towards getting Nick that full retirement. So the more we can do, the most we can get that, the better.
Oh, shut up.
Look, thank you. It's been really great. Thank you
on behalf of LNPG, from my position, I'd like to thank everybody in Magnet that have put this forward, and I'm just so excited about the changes. You can't, I was on a meeting with Jason today. I went, Jason, for God's sake, this is fantastic for us. I've been banging the drum for 10 years. Yep. Most people, can I repeat what you said to me, Chris? Why did you continue?
Yeah.
Because today it's justified why I continued.
You know what as well, Nick, when Chris was talking about the witch, the biggest thing, and I've been with Magnet over 6 months now, and biggest thing is the heritage, 118-year-old business. You speak to many people, whether they're landlords, whether they're private owners, renting, whatever. Everyone's had a Magnet kitchen, Chris, haven't they, down the years? And people are so proud of it. Everyone I speak to, oh yeah, I've had a Magnet kitchen. It will help you fill the properties, because people will look at a DIY kitchen and think, oh, it sounds a bit cheap, it's low end. Magnet stands for quality, and that's the big thing. I've worked for other kitchen businesses, and the quality of this business is exceptional, and the heritage, 118 years, shouldn't be ignored, because it's stunning.
Absolutely. I'm just so proud that Magnet are back.
That's what we should call the webinar. Magnet are back. Lovely. Look, knocking on 8:05, guys. Thank you so much. Laura, what do we have coming up next month?
We've got wealth builders.
Oh, wealth builders. Ah, great. I've been looking forward to this one. It's slightly different because we usually, of course, have partners on this, but every now and then we'll have someone from the industry. So we've been talking to Kevin at Wealth Builders for a little while now. I did a podcast with them recently about LNPG and kind of a little bit behind the scenes, under the bonnet of how it works here, and some of the difficulties we have in not being able to share our pricing, of course, until someone's a member. They've got an interesting membership business themselves as well, but they've got something that they call the 7 pillars of wealth. I think it's 7, it might be 6. One of those is kind of what you can do and the intricacies of a pension. I won't pretend to understand it, but I think that for property investors, it's definitely something that's worth considering. It's something you've not thought about before. Actually, what is happening with your pension? How can you access that money? And is it going to mature to a point where you're actually going to be able to live off it comfortably at the end, or could you be making better use of it? So we'll have more details to follow, but I really look forward to that. He's got the unenviable position of following Magnet, but I think there's no one better up to the job. I look forward to seeing all of you there. Thanks again for joining us tonight. We'll have this recording up in the next few days. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Magnet.
No,
and everyone,
pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right.